What happened next in terms of reconciliation?
Well, Lincoln got assassinated just a few days after Lee's troops laid down their arms.
Can you talk to the assassinations? He was shot 5 days after the surrender, right?
Yes, he was.
So who was Booth? Who was John Wilkes Booth? Why did he assassinate Lincoln, and what impact did that have?
Well, he was the youngest of the most famous acting family in the United States. Junius Brutus Booth and Edwin Booth, his father and older brother, were very famous actors. And he was a very successful actor, too, John Wilkes Booth was. He was good at jumping around the stage, and he was very athletic. And an ardent pro-Confederate.
Right. That's the more important.
Yeah, not ardent, not ardent enough to put on a uniform for the Confederacy, but ardent enough to, argue for the Confederacy. He heard Lincoln make a statement about maybe black soldiers getting the vote, and he said that was it for him. That somebody needed to kill the tyrant. This is after Lee had surrendered.
So he was on the Union side.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
But Lincoln was a tyrant in his eyes.
Lincoln was a tyrant because of his treatment of the white South. And he had plotted earlier to kidnap Lincoln and hold him for ransom, and that didn't work out. So then he got this little group of losers around him to help. I mean, real misfits. Their plan was to kill Seward, Andrew Johnson. They were going to cut off the top leadership of the United States.
Yep.
Kill the president, kill the vice president, kill the Secretary of State. That's what they wanted to do.
On the Johnson side, they chickened out.
That guy chickened out. A guy named Lewis Powell was sent to kill Seward. Seward had been in an accident and had his neck in a big brace, and he slashed at Seward, huge scars on the side of his face, but the knife hit the brace and didn't kill Seward. So Seward was disfigured. His son was wounded. The guy who was supposed to kill Johnson chickened out, and Booth killed Lincoln. And there was a manhunt for Lincoln, or for Booth. It took a while, and he was shot in a barn rather than captured and put on trial. But 4 of the conspirators were put on trial, including one woman, a woman named Mary Surratt, who ran a boarding house where some of them stayed, and they were all hanged at Old Capitol Prison. And the combination of that hanging, they were tried by a military commission and hanged, but they also put on trial and hanged the commandant of Andersonville Prison, which was the most infamous of the Confederate prison of war camps. They hanged him as well. And it seemed that those hangings sort of took the edge, the sort of we need some retribution edge off attitudes in the North. I think those things helped offset Lincoln's assassination in a sort of odd way, because the temperature went down after that.
You talk about, maybe a bit of an aside, but that we Americans like to spin up conspiracy theories about assassinations
We do.
of our presidents. So that's certainly very true, maybe truer than most, about Lincoln's assassination.
There was a long literature, actually, it began with a chemist named Otto Eisenschimmel many, many decades ago, that implicated Secretary of War Stanton and blamed the radicals were unhappy with Lincoln for not being harsher on the former Confederates. And what they wanted to do was get him out of the way. They thought they could manipulate Andrew Johnson if they got Andrew Johnson in charge. So then they would pose these questions. How come no one was guarding Lincoln that night? How come the only bridge over the Potomac that wasn't guarded is the one that Booth escaped across? All of these.
Yep.
How come Grant didn't go to the play with Lincoln? The Lincolns asked them. Well, they didn't, because Mrs. Grant didn't like Mrs. Lincoln. I mean, there are answers to all the questions, but they put all these together, added 2 and 2 and got 5, and said that it was a plot on the part of the radical wing of the Republican Party to get rid of Lincoln because Lincoln didn't want to be harsh enough on the South.
Yeah, it's difficult to believe that dramatic, sometimes catastrophic things happen for seemingly that the random, as you said, loser.
It's not satisfying. You want a more satisfying, and that is a big conspiracy is better. There are all these forces at work to get rid of Lincoln, not just that the one guy assigned to guard Lincoln, there's no Secret Service then, went across the street to get a drink. And Booth had played in that theater many times. He knew exactly the layout. He'd come in earlier. He'd arrange. I mean, it's just, that's the way it worked out.
And I have to say, it's kind of interesting. I have to be honest with my own mind that, like, I love a good conspiracy. My brain does.
Almost
I
everybody does.
think it's what is it? It's maybe depressing or heartbreaking to know that so much destruction be caused by random events. You want there to be a larger system at play that it makes you feel like there's a meaning to this whole thing, as opposed to tides of history can turn on a stupid actor shooting one of the greatest, if not the greatest president in the history.
That's correct. Killing him, jumping out of the presidential box, breaking his leg when he hit the stage, limping off, and getting away. Yep.
Over 700,000 people dead. These epic battles, all of that. Lincoln survives all of it. And then there's
When they had the grand review in Washington, when Sherman's armies and the Army of the Potomac marched over 2 days, this amazing display of the troops that had won, the main troops who had run the war, one of the most common comments was, Lincoln's not here. Of all people who should have been here, Lincoln should have been here, and he doesn't get to watch this. He's not in the presidential box watching this. And the soldiers talked about it too.
It's heartbreaking, really. Especially, I would have loved to see his evolution as a leader, as a human being, and the words he may have found to direct us as a country, in the Reconstruction.
Yep. It would have been different. We can't tell how different,
Yeah.
but it would have been different. And I think it would have worked more smoothly.